There's a moment that sneaks up on you. You're standing there, keys in hand, ready to head out to visit someone like you always used to. But instead of moving, you just stop, and it hits you. You're not tired, not lonely. You've just changed. You've learned that peace matters more than presence. That being everywhere doesn't mean being connected. And suddenly, staying home feels like a choice, not a retreat, but a return to yourself. That's not strange. That's wisdom. Let's be real for a second. Social life after 70 just doesn't hit the same way it used to. Maybe you find yourself saying no thanks more often. Maybe just the thought of getting dressed, driving across town, and making small talk feels exhausting. You're not being rude or distant. You're being real with yourself. You've lived enough to know your energy has value. You've learned that presence should feel peaceful, not pressured. And sometimes, the best way to connect is to choose stillness over noise. This video breaks down 6 honest reasons why you might feel less social now. And spoiler alert, it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It might just mean you're finally doing it right. Let's talk about that strange guilt that creeps in when you start turning down invitations. You wonder, am I becoming antisocial? Am I pulling away too much? But here's the truth. Something is shifting, and that's not a bad thing. Society tells us that staying busy and constantly social means we're doing well. But maybe wellness looks like quiet mornings, slow afternoons, and time spent with yourself. That pull to visit less doesn't mean you care less. It means you're finally tuning in to what you need. Maybe you're not as quick to jump in the car. Not because you don't want to connect, but because you're more careful with your time. And honestly, that's a sign of growth, not distance. So let's stop feeling guilty about it. Have you ever woken up, looked at the calendar, seen a social event, and decide? Not because you don't like people, but because everything about it suddenly feels like too much. The getting ready, the driving, the small talk, the whole thing. And it hits you. Your energy isn't what it used to be. And now, you're realizing it's time to be more careful about where that energy goes. It's not about becoming antisocial. It's about becoming intentional. Years ago, you might have said yes to everything without thinking. Backyard barbecues, neighborhood potlucks, church luncheons. You showed up because it felt like the right thing to do. But over time, your body and mind start whispering, slow down. And if you're wise, you start listening. Martin was someone who used to be the life of the party. Every weekend, he had somewhere to be. But after turning 70, even simple outings began to wear him down. He'd go out to dinner with friends and come home more exhausted than refreshed. It wasn't the company, it was the effort it took. So he started doing something radical. He said no, not in a harsh way, just gently. He started choosing rest over routine. And guess what? The people who truly cared understood. This is what saving energy looks like in this season of life. You realize that your energy is a limited, valuable resource, like money in the bank. You only want to spend it where it counts. Maybe it's one-on-one coffee with a close friend. Maybe it's calling your grandkids and catching up from the comfort of your recliner. The point is, you're making more thoughtful choices, not just automatic ones. And there's a kind of power in that, a quiet strength. When you conserve your energy for what really matters, your time feels richer. You're not just showing up, you're showing up fully present. And that makes all the difference. This shift doesn't mean you care less. It often means you care more. You're no longer spreading yourself thin. You're protecting what's left of your day, your spirit, your well-being. And in doing so, you're creating room for deeper connection, not more connection. So if you've been feeling guilty about pulling back a bit, let that go. This is not withdrawal. It's wisdom. You're not fading, you're focusing. And focusing is how you make your later years meaningful. Choose where your energy goes. Choose what fills you, not what drains you. Because when you say yes from a place of peace, every yes feels more like a gift. That's how presence becomes powerful. Let that be your guide moving forward. You owe no one your exhaustion, but you do owe yourself your attention and care. Let's be honest, some social situations just aren't worth it anymore. You know the ones. You show up, smile politely, and try to keep the peace, but you leave feeling more tired than when you arrived. It might be family dinners where old arguments bubble up, or friends who always seem to turn conversations negative. And after a while, you start thinking, why am I doing this to myself? The truth is, as you get older, your tolerance for drama, gossip, and unnecessary stress drops fast. You start to see your peace of mind as something worth protecting. You've been through too much, lived through too many storms, to let someone else's chaos throw off your day. Grace used to visit her sister every week. It had become a routine, but every visit left her emotionally drained. Her sister always had something to complain about the neighbors, about the news, about Grace herself. One day, Grace decided to take a step back. She didn't make a big announcement. She just stopped showing up out of guilt. She replaced those visits with a walk in the park or tea with a friend who made her laugh. And guess what? She felt lighter. That's what it means to choose your peace. It's not about cutting people off. It's about knowing how much energy you have and spending it wisely. You realize that not everyone deserves your presence just because they expect it. Some people bring out the best in you. Others just wear you down. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. You've learned that walking away from certain situations doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're growing up in a whole new way. You also realize that peace isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of comfort. When you stop putting yourself in environments where you have to shrink, defend, or explain, you create room to breathe. And that space? That's where healing happens. Not everything familiar is healthy. Some relationships are held together by habit, not love. And that's okay to admit. The more honest you are with yourself, the more peace you'll find. So if your gut tells you that someone or something is draining you, trust that feeling. Life is too short and too precious to spend in rooms where you don't feel safe. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because at this stage in life, it truly is. You've earned your calm. You don't have to explain it. Just live in it. There's something about your own home that just feels right. It's not fancy, it's not perfect, but it's yours. And as you get older, that comfort means more and more. You know where everything is. The chair by the window fits your back just right. The lighting is soft, the noise is low, and the air feels familiar. You can breathe easier here because nothing is expected of you. It's your space, and you've earned it. When you were younger, being out and about was exciting. You loved trying new restaurants, popping into someone's house, or running errands all over town. But now, there's peace in staying put. It's not that you don't care about others. It's that you've finally started caring more about yourself. Raymond used to accept every dinner invite. He was always the guest who showed up, even when he didn't feel like it. But he started noticing something. After each visit, he came home more tired than when he left. The loud chatter, the unfamiliar chairs, the constant buzz, it all took a toll. So he shifted things. Instead of pushing himself, he started inviting friends over on his own terms. Nothing fancy, just coffee, a slice of pie, and some quiet conversation. And suddenly, being social felt natural again. Your home holds your rhythm. It knows when you like to eat, how you like your tea, and where you leave your slippers. And there's no awkward small talk or uncomfortable silences here. Just you, your favorite blanket, and the soft hum of a space that was made for your peace. Sometimes, other people's homes can feel a little off. Maybe the chairs are too hard. Maybe the TV's too loud. Maybe the conversation isn't as relaxing as you hoped. And while it's okay to step out sometimes, it's also perfectly okay to say, you know what? I'm better off here today. Choosing your comfort isn't difficult. It's being honest. It's saying, I know what feels good for me, and I'm allowed to honor that. The older you get, the more you realize how important that is. So if you found yourself turning down invitations, or just not wanting to go out like you used to, don't beat yourself up. That's not a sign you're closing off. It's a sign you're tuning in. And when someone asks, why don't you visit like before? You can simply smile and say, because I've found peace right here. There's no need to chase the noise when the quiet feels this good. You deserve to enjoy the sanctuary you've created. Let it be enough. When you're younger, having a full calendar feels like a badge of honor. Coffee with this person, dinner with that one. You stretch yourself thin trying to keep up with everyone because you think that's what connection looks like. But as you get older, you realize something important. It's not about how many people you know. It's about how deeply you connect with the few who get you. There's a quiet wisdom that comes with choosing quality over quantity. You no longer feel the need to explain your worth through busyness. You stop chasing every lunch invite and start asking yourself, does this relationship bring me peace or pressure? That shift changes everything. Evelyn went through this change a few years after retiring. She used to be the glue that held her social circle together. Holiday parties, group texts, constant check-ins. She gave so much of herself, but often felt overlooked. Then she realized, just because a relationship has history doesn't mean it has harmony. She started stepping back from the ones that drained her and leaning into the ones that made her feel safe, seen, and supported. What surprised her most? The peace that came with fewer, deeper connections. No more keeping up, no more performing, just real presence with people who didn't require anything more than her being herself. That's the heart of this shift. You start valuing the people who don't need constant contact to feel close. The ones who can go weeks or months without talking and still feel just as connected when they do. You begin letting go of surface-level ties and gravitate toward the relationships that feel effortless, genuine, and soul-deep. And you know what? That's not a loss, it's a gain. You gain energy. You gain clarity. You gain time for yourself and those who truly matter. You gain space to reflect, rest, and renew without guilt. So don't worry if your friend list has gotten shorter. That doesn't mean you're losing people. It means you're finding your people. The ones who care about you for who you are, not for how often you show up. The ones who understand when you need space. The ones who listen when you speak and speak from a place of love. You're not turning your back on connection. You're redefining it. And in that process, you're creating a life that feels lighter, more honest, and full of the kind of warmth that only true companionship brings. Fewer people, deeper roots. That's the kind of richness that really lasts. Choose real. Choose steady. Choose the ones who show up with their whole heart, even if they don't show up often. There's a moment sometime after 60 or 70 when you start seeing life differently. Things that once felt urgent don't hold the same weight anymore. The need to be busy, to stay involved, to show up for everything, it starts to fade. And in its place comes something softer, something simpler, a kind of peace that you can't find in a crowd. You begin asking different questions. Not, what should I be doing today? But what do I actually want to do? You realize your time is more than just hours on a clock. It's energy, it's presence, and it's limited. So you start choosing carefully. Samuel was someone who always said yes. Yes to the church potluck. Yes to helping neighbors move. Yes to every birthday party and barbecue. He enjoyed being needed. But eventually, he noticed something. He wasn't enjoying any of it anymore. He was tired, not just physically, but emotionally. He felt like he was moving through life without really being present in it. So one morning, he took a walk by himself. No phone, no errands, just him and the sound of birds. And for the first time in years, he felt something click. That simple walk brought him more peace than a dozen social events ever had. He started doing more of that. Quiet mornings, reading books he used to shelve away, calling people just to listen instead of plan. And what he found was a different kind of joy. Not loud, not busy, just deep and steady. That's what a shift in priorities looks like. You stop performing. You stop proving. You start being. And it's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what matters. Maybe that's gardening. Maybe that's prayer. Maybe it's just sitting by the window, watching the light change across the floor. The world might not understand this shift. People might ask why you're not as active as before. But here's what they don't see. You're more alive now than ever, just in a different way. You've earned the right to slow down, to listen to your own rhythm, to put your energy into things that fill you instead of drain you. So if you felt that nudge to pause more often, to step back, to go inward, follow it. That's not you disappearing. That's you arriving. Arriving at a place where your peace, your purpose, and your presence finally line up. You're not missing out. You're finally tuning in. And that kind of presence, that's where the real beauty of life begins. Let this season be the one where you live by your own pace, not by anyone else's expectations. One of the most surprising lessons you learn as you get older is that the strongest friendships don't need constant maintenance. When we're young, we think being close to someone means checking in all the time, going out together, and being present for every event. But real connection doesn't work that way. Not when it's built on trust. There are people you might not talk to for weeks, even months, and when you finally do, it feels like no time has passed. No guilt, no awkward catching up, just an easy rhythm that picks up right where you left off. That's how you know it's real. Elaine used to feel guilty when she didn't keep in touch. She'd force herself to attend gatherings, send texts out of obligation, and say yes when she wanted to say no. But over time, she realized something important. The people who really cared about her didn't keep score. They didn't need constant reminders to remember their connection. They just showed up when it mattered most. And that changed everything for her. She stopped stressing about being the one who always reached out. She let go of the need to explain herself. And in that space, her friendships got stronger, not weaker. The pressure was gone, and what was left was something more honest, more relaxed, and more rewarding. You learn that real friendship isn't loud. It's not about constant presence. It's about steady presence, the kind that shows up when it counts, that listens without judgment, that reminds you of who you are at your core, not just who you were last month. And the friendships that fade when you stop showing up all the time, those probably weren't built to last anyway. This is the gift of growing older. You learn to let go of the extras and focus on what truly matters. You don't need 50 people checking in on you. You need 2 or 3 who really see you. So if your life has gotten quieter, if your social circle has tightened, don't see that as a loss. See it as clarity. You're not disappearing. You're becoming more intentional. And that's a beautiful thing. Real friends won't make you feel guilty for needing space. They'll give it freely and welcome you back warmly. Because the bond doesn't live in the number of texts or calls. It lives in the understanding, the shared memories, the unspoken care. Keep those people close. Let go of the rest. And most importantly, give yourself the same grace you give others. You don't have to prove your loyalty with visits. Your presence is felt in far deeper ways. That's the kind of friendship that lasts a lifetime. Real friendships are like good books. You can set them down and come back later, and they're just as meaningful as before. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. You don't need to be everywhere to matter. You don't have to show up for everyone else to be worthy. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes with choosing peace over pressure. And after 70, that strength starts to feel like home. You begin to understand that less really can be more. Less rushing, less explaining, less trying to keep up. And in that space, something beautiful happens. You finally hear yourself. You trust your own rhythm. You show up when it counts, not just because you feel obligated. That kind of presence, it's deeper, it's real. And the people who truly care about you, they'll feel it. They'll respect it. Because when you permit yourself to honor what you need, your relationships become more honest, more grounded, and more freeing. That's not stepping away. That's stepping into who you've always been meant to be. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture. You're not visiting less because you don't care. You're visiting less because you finally do about your peace, your energy, and your time. And that's not something to feel guilty about. That's something to honor. You've earned the right to slow down, to choose your moments, and to focus on what feels real. Whether it's fewer gatherings or deeper conversations, your life is still full, just in a different way. You're not pulling away from others. You're moving closer. Let that truth sit with you. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to shift. And the people who truly care, they will walk that path with you every step of the way. If this message spoke to you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and tell us what resonated most with you. Maybe it's a moment you've experienced or a shift you've been feeling too. Your story might help someone else feel seen. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell so you never miss another moment of reflection and support. And hey, share this with a friend who might need a little peace today.